Hello, BookTube. This is a sad day. Today is the last of the alphabet tags created by Jim of Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. Today I will be doing the Y and Z tag. I'm doing it today instead of my usual Tuesday for Tag Tuesday because I have company coming over. My aunts are coming to visit my mom. And also there's always the possibility of having to watch The Four Children of the Apocalypse. My brother and sister-in-law have bought a house and they are in the process of moving and they need somebody to watch The Four Children of the Apocalypse. Or most of them, or half of them, depending. I'm also in the need of a bit of a pick-me-up. I didn't have a particularly pleasant weekend, which I might go into on weekly reads, because in part it was reading related, and there'll be a bit of a rant, but for now, let's get to the YZ tag. Y is for YA, or young adult. How would you rank the following popular YA books? The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, The Book Thief by Markus Zusak, and The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Do I have to? I've heard of The Hunger Games, and so I don't really need much of a refresher on what the plot is of that. I did need one for The Fault in Our Stars and The Book Thief, which I'd never heard of. I'm not a fan of YA. I don't read YA, if at all. When I was 12, I went from children's lit to adult fiction. Basically, I started reading Agatha Christie, and I never really read what could be considered middle grade or YA after 12. I've read some middle grade and YA since then, but very rarely. Probably less than 20 in decades. And I'm not particularly fond of them. I find for the most part, that the narrative style is incredibly condescending, and that drives me insane. And it drove me insane when I was 12. So anyway, but in the spirit of this prompt, I will be ranking them, although this will be in negative territory. Not positive territory, negative. So, coming in at -3 is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Reading the plot description was swelling, and I'm pretty sure reading the book is even more swelling. I still have vomit in my mouth from having read that plot description. No. Coming in at -2 is The Hunger Games, which I have no intention of reading. It is dystopic science fiction, and I loathe dystopic science fiction with a passion. I've never gotten on with it, and I never will. So coming in at number -1 is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak, which, while maybe a bit sounding melodramatic, it is incredibly melodramatic, and the whole issue with historical fiction, which I have, and it at least sounds fairly interesting. So, of the three, I think The Book Thief is the best, or at least sounds the best. I will never read them to actually make sure, though. In which case, I guess maybe the furthest I get before I bail would count. Anyway, Oh, next prompt. What do you call the last letter of the alphabet? Z, Z, or something else? I use Z, which I'm assuming is American English uh, or the American pronunciation of the last letter of the alphabet. To me, Z brings to mind a Power Rangers villain. Yeah. And next prompt. A few countries begin with Y and Z. The former Yugoslavia, Yemen, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and the former Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of Congo. Have you read a book set in a place beginning with Y or Z, or by an author from a country beginning with Y or Z? So I've read something about, like a book about the Yugoslavian Civil War, and I think the Bosnian conflict more specifically. But it's been so long since I've read it that I do not know what the title is or really how to track it down. I read it for a college class that was fairly interesting. Um, so that's for Yugoslavia. Although I do want some history of Yugoslavia. I do want to. That's one of my areas I think where I'm going to be looking for more histories of. Yemen, not specifically, but the Arabs by Tim McIntosh Smith does have was written in Yemen. I think he, at the time he wrote The Arabs, lived in Yemen. I don't know if he still does. And so he will go on tangents or asides in the narrative, talking about what's going on outside of his window in Yemen. And Yemen does get quite a bit of attention paid to it in the narrative, which is very interesting and really whets my appetite for a Yemen-specific history. I know there are a few histories of some of the other countries in the region that have come out lately, but I don't know about Yemen. Zambia, I don't think so. Zimbabwe and Zaire, yes. Dictatorland by Paul Kenyon. It's a big look at various dictators in Africa. The first chapter is about Mobutu Sese Seko, who was the founder of Zaire. Zaire used to be the Congo, and then when Mobutu Sese Seko took over, he eventually renamed the country Zaire. After his overthrow, the country was renamed the Democratic Republic of the Congo, or Democratic Republic of Congo. Congo, I forget if there's a D in there, but anyway. And it's a very fascinating book, and that's a very fascinating chapter. And also Robert Mugabe, the longtime president of Zimbabwe, also features in the book. And it is, again, I highly recommend Dictatorland. It is very interesting. So Y is for Yeats. Who is your favorite Irish poet? Seamus Heaney. I quite like his work. Although I've never really collected any of his collections, or Yeats for that matter, but I really do like quite a bit of what I've read of Heaney. Y is for YouTube. What channels do you like to watch apart from the BookTube channels? Now, BookTube channels are pretty much all that I watch, because I'm subscribed to a large amount of BookTube channels. But outside of BookTube, in bookish related, so this would kind of like cancel out, say, Politics and Prose, or PALS, or the New York Public Library, or any of them. I watch a lot of art channels and cooking channels. So among my favorite art channels are Marla Baguetta, Karen Margulis, Bethany Fields, Gail Sibley, if she ever makes videos. The Pastoral Society of Southern California has become a favorite of mine. Alain Picard, if he ever would make more videos. Also, I've liked the work of the Art Sherpa and Ginger Cook, although not recently. I haven't really watched them recently. And as far as cooking goes, Food 52, Babbage Culinary Universe, um, Bon Appetit, Dessert Person, Gabby Melian, if she'd make videos, Preppy Kitchen, so on and so forth. Outside of that, I'm also subscribed to a few gaming channels, although I haven't really watched any of them in forever, which is a shame because I do like watching people play, particularly retro video games. I used to love watching Chris Plays Games when he would do his weekly, or because he did it twice a week, Mondays and Fridays. Those were a blast. I loved watching them, but he hasn't really made videos in forever. Although his interests have since shifted, I think, into local politics. So yeah. Also, going back to art, David Finch. He's a comic book artist, and he's got a YouTube channel. And every Monday night he draws something, and I love watching those. So yeah, quite a few. I'm not going to list them all down below because it's quite a bit. So anyway, moving on. Z is for zero. Have you read a book about nothing in particular? No. Although you could probably make the case that that's what most literary fiction is. Z is for zombies. Do you have a favorite book about zombies or a zombie apocalypse? I don't really have many books about zombies. Now, let's be clear. Most of the literature that deals with zombies are actually about ghouls, not zombies. Zombies are reanimated dead who are basically enslaved. But I do have a favorite book that does deal with zombies, and that is The Last Sun by Katie Edwards. It's a contemporary fantasy in which the island of Nantucket has been taken over by refugees from Atlantis, and the Atlanteans are ruled by an aristocracy that is based on, or in this case, inspired the. I'm blanking on what they're exactly called, but the main cards of the tarot, like the Lovers, the Sun, the Moon, the Hanged Man, the Magician, the Hierophant, the Priestess, that sort of thing. And in the first book, The Last Sun of the series, the main character is tasked with finding a lost son of one of the noble families. And he has to go through an army of zombies to get to him. Basically, the antagonists raised a whole army of military dead to serve as their mooks. And while I do have a lot of problems with The Last Sun and the tarot sequence in general, I do really like the usage of zombies in that story. Also, Gather the Fortunes by Brian Camp also uses zombies in a similar way that's quite interesting. So yeah. Next. Z is for Zootopia. Have you a favorite book where the characters are animals, anthropomorphic or otherwise? Well, I guess you can say the Reaction Animal series. I've read 3 of them, Wasp, Scorpion, and Squid, and I love the Squid one. And that was an amazing book. Excuse me. Z is for Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance. What is the connection between Zen and motorcycle maintenance? I have no idea. Bonus prompts. Y is for yellow. Do you have a favorite yellow book? No. Y is for year. Do you have a best reading year? Or maybe the best books read or the best books... most books read. I'm sorry. I don't on this, like on my YouTube channel, I don't. When I did a blog, I did do my top 10 books of the year, at least once or twice. And, maybe I ought to do that for the year. So, I might do a best books of the year, or best books that I read in this year, not necessarily releases in 2021. It might be fun to do. Y is for yacht. Do you have a favorite book about sailing? The Scar by China Miéville. That is an amazing story. It's basically about a woman named Bellis Coldwine who is fleeing from New Crobuzon. After an ex-lover of hers royally pissed off the New Crobuzon government. She signs on with a colony ship to become a translator, and she is abducted by, and the ship itself is abducted by pirates working or living out of the pirate city-state of Armada, which is a massive city of combined ships. And it is just an amazing story. I loved it. I think that is probably China Miéville's best story, or best novel. Y is for Yugoslavia. Have you read any books about the Yugoslavian Civil War? Yes, I mentioned it in the earlier. I do not remember its name. I would love to find it again, but it's been so long, I have no clue what it is. But I will look to see if I can find more books on that. Z is for Roger Zelazny. Do you have a favorite book by Roger Zelazny? I've only read one. Nine Princes in Amber. And it didn't really work for me. Z is for Z. Do you get enough sleep? I don't know. Sometimes I think I do, or I could do with a little less. But then sometimes I don't think I get enough sleep. I don't really know what the optimum amount of sleep is for me. Particularly given that I do have a hard time falling asleep, and I don't know exactly how long it takes me to fall asleep. So, I don't know. So that concludes the alphabet tag created by Jim of Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. If you haven't done these tags, well, please do so. They are a lot of fun. I'm sad to see the end of this series. Hopefully Jim will take a few weeks off and recharge, and maybe he'll come up with a new series of tags, or maybe another booktuber will make a new series of tags or something. But these tags have been a lot of fun, and I will miss them. So, BookTube, until I see you again, because I don't really know when that's going to be, because, again, no videos tomorrow, and I don't know exactly how we'll be watching the kids, because I thought we were going to be watching them today, but so far they haven't brought them over, so who knows. But anyway, BookTube, until I see you again, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.